Before beginning, I must thank the organizers of the World Hindu Congress, Vikram in specific, and every single person, the sponsors, who has made this possible. I'll start with a personal anecdote, because that takes us straight to the problem. I don't know, it just, okay. On September 30th of this year, I got a call from CNN-News18 office, where I am a consulting editor, that 4 Tamil Nadu policemen have come looking for me, apparently to arrest me. And this is in Noida. The headquarters are in Noida. So they've traveled all the way from Chennai to, to sort of arrest me for writing a piece countering Udayanithi Stalin's call to exterminate Sanatan Dharma, and also countering Periyar's poisonous political ideology. Now, I've had to go to Chennai later on and to, obviously press lawyers. I'm fighting the thing in court. That's not all. In June, Congress party sent a legal notice to me on a most innocuous article. If you read it, you'll laugh. It was on how Rahul Gandhi's urban sensibilities stop him from understanding what India is, that. Now, now, I am one of the examples, and I'm sure in this gathering there are many more. I'm one of the examples of how fuzzy laws and badly drafted media policies translate in real life in the media space. Do I care? I don't. But my point is that news policy and regulation on news is so complex, so fraught with self-goals, that to cover it in 10 to 12 minutes is impossible, but I'll try to take you through a bullet point type thing as quickly as possible and make some suggestions at the end. I hope I get, I think we'll keep it there. Huh? Okay. Clearly, PowerPoint was not made for me. On policy, regulation, and execution, the cornerstone of journalism in India is Article 19, which guarantees freedom of speech. Now, that also happens to be the first amendment to the Constitution by Jawaharlal Nehru, and on the other side of the extremely stormy, bitter, fierce debate was Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, who argued that don't kill freedom of speech by what you are calling reasonable restrictions and so on. Interestingly, ideologically diverse people like Acharya Kripalani and Jayaprakash Narayan were on SP Mukherjee's side on the debate. After that, after emergency, this Press Council of India was formed in 1978, a self-regulatory body to basically make Indian journalism better. A similar body is the Editors Guild. I'm asking you, have they been able to make Indian journalism better? Why? Because they're toothless. They can admonish, they can't punish. And thank God for that. Because these self-regulatory bodies are basically pompous little extensions of Lutyens' Delhi. They are basically, some retired judges, editors approaching irrelevance, Adhimanna Patrakars, and senior journalists who are basically have been parasites of the system for decades. They are members of these statutory bodies, and they don't deserve the power to censor. More recently, there has been CMA, Central Media Accreditation Guidelines. I mean, accreditation to a journalist can be withdrawn.
The Arabs that lived in British Mandate Palestine welcomed Jews from all over the world after the Holocaust happened. And what did the Jews...
That's for later. So, and then we have the IT Intermediary Guidelines, Digital Media Ethics Code, on which Ishkaran will speak a little more in detail later, so I won't go into it. But which are the provisions of law which are misused the most against Sanatan Dharma or people who champion the cause? There is, of course, I mean, I have some of them slapped on me, Section 153A of IPC, which penalizes for promoting enmity between groups. It's a completely bizarre, I mean, abstract, overarching term. You can pull anybody into it. Also, Section 295A of IPC. Again, punishment for deliberate and malicious acts that are intended to outrage religious feelings. Then there is Section 505 of IPC, which forbids intent to incite or reports containing rumor or alarming news with intent to create enmity. They are well-meaning sections, but they're widely misused, mainly by the anti-Hindu forces. But should we scrap these legal provisions? Although I am a sufferer, I would say no, not yet, not now. Why? Because people who misuse these provisions, we must remember that they also wield tremendous street power. They also have control over academia and media to whitewash stuff that they do. Hindus have neither. We haven't developed the kind of street power, intimidatory power, nor the control of media so far. And so we need, I mean, we can't give up the regulations that we still have. In terms of execution of laws, Bharat has not shown enough intent yet. Abroad, Google's parent company, Alphabet, is facing investigations in Germany, US, Mexico for monopolistic practices and unauthorized collection of biometric data. Amazon is facing legal action in US and UK for secretive algorithm. Apple has been sued in Britain, EU, Brazil, Meta in the US, EU, Norway, Microsoft in EU. Twitter has gone through prolonged Senate questioning. Indian authorities, after much pressure, have merely managed to get Twitter, Facebook, etc., to acquire to basic laws of the land, and they've finally done it. But after that, we haven't seen much action on, to asking them to reveal their algorithms, etc., Shadow banning and other forms of bias are still very much in place. On tech-driven content and news media regulations, I'm a co-founder of Earshot, which is India's first Dolby Atmos-enabled podcast, audio, video platform and production house. So, we deal with technology a lot, but in this, I'll quickly say that I've observed two things that probably we need to think about. One is good techies and good content creators seldom come together. They are almost dismissive about each other. When you are forming a tech platform, you just concentrate on the tech platform thinking content is secondary. With content creators, it's the reverse. VCs almost often predicate funding on whether a startup has a great tech team. Instead, they should be putting in their money and saying that, okay, build a great tech team, if you don't. So these are the two things. Fourth is Bharat ready for a Gaza-scale information war? Let's ask 7 questions quickly. Do Bharatiya government proxies or prominent Bharatiya billionaires invest in large and influential international media houses? Or have we created our equivalent of Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, etc.? 1. Have we cracked the fact-check ecosystem, which Ram had just spoken about? It's entirely monopolized by the left ecosystem, not just in India, but globally. And they are supposed to be the harbingers of objectivity, etc. See, do we focus on creating content in sleek, attractive forms, which the left ecosystem has long mastered? Again, we focus on content, which is great, but not on the form, not on the design, not on the presentation. D, Bharat is doing some pretty advanced research in AI. Are we linking tech with our news and content? 5, are we creating content creators outside mainstream media and usual suspects on local social media? Example, how Israel and pro-Palestine lobbies are using extremely presentable, articulate youngsters to make short viral videos in the war narrative. The video that accidentally played was about that. So, and lastly, have we changed our colonial syllabus, which is the greatest nuclear weapon of information that we have used against ourselves? The answer to all the questions, I suspect, is no. If anybody has a different opinion, I would love to be proven wrong. I'll finish with a few suggestions on the way ahead. I think we should move away. We keep the regulation that we have, but we should move away from regulation to disruption. Regulation is not the forte of nationalists. Modi government came to power not because of regulation, but because of disruption, because citizens independently and in groups took on, and completely created disruptive content, created memes, created humor, satire, etc., and, blew them out of the water. We should not shoot ourselves in the foot by over-regulating, because the same regulations will come back to haunt us the moment there is not a hostile government comes back to power. Then we need to combine smart content with latest tech. The one, I just spoke about it. We need to use virtual reality, augmented reality, gaming, etc., etc. Way back in 2004, America, Uruguay, even Estonia were using online games for political persuasion before elections. We can think of something, and 2D, 2.5D, 3D animation, virtual reality can be used to create content. See, in post-Cold War, America's Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck faded, Soviets' sporting power faded, and Japan's manga rose. The manga comics of Japan in terms of popular culture, nightlife in Dubai, Indian and Chinese food, fashion, street fashion in Korea, they rose. And that was the beginning of a multipolar world. The last to this thing is converge efforts, disciplines, talent, and investment. I mean, this is why a conference like this is so important, to bring together content creators, investors, other talent, etc., etc. If Zubair does a post, it is, Al Jazeera talks about it, then some reward committee, Western, they give them a prize, it comes back to India, and people think that, oh, they're doing, such great journalism. India can actually be the most powerful information force in the world. And lastly, fix our education. Fix our education, roll out the national education policy as fast as possible, overhaul the national curriculum framework, purge the school books of colonial, Islamist, and leftist lies and filth, strengthen learning in mother tongue and don't let go of English as the international bridge language, introduce basic Bharatiya philosophy from primary school, fix education. Half of this civilization's challenges will disappear in the next 1 or 2 generations if we fix that, because that is the source code. Thank you, and sorry for exceeding the time limit.